Hey, hi everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Okay, so this is a closing call, and I'm really happy you guys could join, and some will probably still be checking in over the next minutes. I hope you're well. Um, and yeah, I'm really just interested in what we could make of today. I've spoken so much over the last 12 months, so now it's going to be your turn. So I woke up maybe some minutes ago and I was going over possible questions I could put out to more or less guide us on collective sharing. Okay, so like we're interested in what the 12 months has been for you. It's going to be hard to isolate that it was particularly the inner dance or the inner intensive that led to you not being the same person this December 2024 as compared to December 2023. Uh, so we could look at this like beyond just the inner dance, because the inner dance pervades our day and night, our month, the whole year in ways that's not easy to track. Um, so what is changed for you at this moment? Um, how are you seeing things differently? What basically changed throughout our time together? What did this inner intensive mean to you? And looking forward as well, it could be interesting to see where do you see inner dance in your life over the next years. I thought maybe I'd start myself to contribute a little bit to these questions, to my own questions, just to warm up the space and help you to formulate your own reflections. Uh, so I was thinking about it over the last minutes. And probably the biggest change that I saw is having to do with my sleep wake cycle. Years ago, when we started these online study journeys, it was definitely quite an effort for me to wake up at midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. But slowly, somehow, for one reason or another, it's really, really interesting to observe that I was indifferent to whatever time I had to wake up. I would have like, I would experiment with 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. calls. So I would have to wake an hour before. I'd experiment with midnight, 11 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 a.m. It would be really seldom that I would have anything um, other than those, like in the afternoons, early evenings. Those are quite rare, so it would really be the odd hours. Um, so my insight would have more to do with how I generate insights, and I realized that thinking at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning is very different from thinking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 9 o'clock in the morning. And I realized that I'm able to draw out more connections when I'm supposed to be dreaming, when I'm supposed to be accessing REM sleep, when I'm awake. Uh, I'm able to access like the whole map in ways that I'm more limited, like during the daytime. The second big insight, I don't have that many because it's already so much insight that's stretched out over the whole year. The goal was to see if we could talk about something so deep, so life-changing, so big throughout a whole year to honor, to value this thing, uh, to see if we could have a big conversation around a really big experience, to go in depth into a really deep experience. Um, so the other big insight that I had was I realized that I have now this way of starting from zero, starting from the ground, starting from scratch, starting from the white. Because after every Zoom call that we have, I would feel quite uh, exhausted in a way because of the intense preparation it takes to stretch out a 3 hour conversation again, 2 times a week, every time we have a wave coming. Um, so for me that's powerful. It's powerful for me to be able to recover again and then to refresh and to act like, okay, I don't know anything once again. And then I have to shift into a space where everything is knowable within the energetic space. So being able to do that from a 1 year cycle and then a 3 month cycle for another training group that we had to hold because of the amount of people who were writing to us, who were requesting, um, and then to do that when we were doing the trainings in Maya, and then to still do that throughout this year where I still accepted a lot of invitations to give these one-off talks where I would do an introduction in inner dance because someone's doing a training somewhere in Europe or in South America or somewhere in Asia. It really did something to my brain to put so much pressure for me to have to talk about this inner dance thing in a way that's really massive and in a way that's really small. To be able to describe the indescribable, to have to translate what happens outside of words in language, it really does something to the brain. It allows the left and the right side to keep talking to each other. So I'm really thankful. Thank you so much. It's just been big, and without any of you, none of this would have been possible. Like I can't believe we were able to do it. I cannot believe that this happened. For me, it's a massive feat to have conducted like a 1 year intensive, and the inner dance is all the more alive because we were able to do it in a way that wasn't looping, that wasn't repetitive. Um, we actually constructed something new again and again about the same thing, proving the fact that there is so many facets, there's so many dimensions, so many layers to this being that it's this energy that is sentient, that is intelligent, that is constantly learning as well from all around the world, looking at the inner dance from all shapes, all sizes, all angles of vision. I was also really interested to perceive the projects that became possible through our study, these different programs, these different movements within institutions, within explorations, different experimentations on how to deliver inner dance in the same way, but not the same way. I'm really excited then about the next year because of what was birthed this year. And I would love for you to speak about, yeah, what do you see that is a new way of bringing this energy that's a deep surrender, but also like a deep understanding. All right, so those are my thoughts. Those are my takeaways. That's what I'm taking home from 2024, and I'm happy to close now because of just how big the opening was. Like it heals my body to have a closing. So if you could join me in closing, I would love to hear like from you. What's different in you now, December 2024? Okay, thank you.
I can go. Thank you, Pi, for your words. Hello to everyone. I'm Val, currently in Mexico City. First of all, thank you for all the lessons, the blessings, all the encounters. For me, it's mind blowing to even think it's been a year. As I'm recapping, and today I'm actually very emotional. So, because I am reflecting on what this year has been, and to think that inner dance came in such a strong way. I was coming only for 1 month at the beginning of 2024 to the Philippines and stayed 3.5 months and was able to take 2 trainings and translate to Pi. That was like the highest high and the most difficult, most challenging thing I've done 2024, and have gone through my own process while being at Maya, the strongest awakening and healing moment of my entire life. Being in these calls and to even think it's been a year, for once, I've lost track or have lost the interest of even feeling what time is, and just being in the state of being so more present. That's one of the shifts that has happened to me as I've seen all this incredible growth. I joined forces with Fanny Lemieux, and we started our inner dance trainings in Mexico. And that was a huge shaker for me as well, to come into my own country, to just be with the energy of what I have embedded in me, what inner dance is, and coming with deconstructing the point of views of what all has happened here in Mexico and basically Latin America, of what inner dance has uh, turned, has some turns in deconstructing the myths of Kundalini, this and that, and coming from just a place of not teaching, but being the energy of inner dance. And that was a huge awakening for me, to go from communities and classes and activations where people are seeking the person who moves the most to be able to do a demo, to actually seek the person who doesn't believe in any energy, who was dragged into the session or the training, and to just be there knowing that you're just a vehicle, or an energy to hold a space for whatever needs to unfold. So the trust that inner dance has embedded in me, in my, not just inner dance in doing sessions, but my life, has completely been life changing for me. I continue to have a lot of challenges, like I'm sure many of you do, but I really believe and I'm thankful for what inner dance has taught me, in things that are just could have me not being able to show up on camera today. Short example, I actually brought a taste of inner dance, but more sound healing, to the place where my mother is with people from, elderly. And I did a whole session. It was beautiful, the healing that happened and all this and that. And I left my instruments and I came back an hour later to greet my mother and to say I'm coming to pick up my instruments. And she had forgotten that I had even gone. Why were those bags there? And I was able to hold that space of just being. I mean, obviously you can hear in my crackly voice, it is emotional, but I'm able to speak about it. Inner dance has allowed me to stay present, to share my truth, to have more strength, to have more compassion. and I'm super excited to see what all will come in this 2025, as I already have a couple of trainings in place. I have my wish list there to come back to the Philippines as well. And I'm just forever grateful for the experiences that I have heard through your own voices, everyone here sharing. And it is for me the biggest blessing and transformation that I could think of in any capacity. So thank you, Pi, for putting all these dots together, the puzzle pieces together. And I look forward. I'm not going to call it a closure for me. For me is the beginning. So I want to continue this journey. And if I could be of service in any way, shape, or form to any of you, wherever I am, please reach out. And I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Sophie. I'm from Belgium, and I wanted to add something on to Val because I want to thank you, Val, because you know that here in Belgium we started breakfast talks, and you were my inspiration because I saw on Instagram you were having your coffee chats in the morning in Mexico, and I was thinking, oh wow, I really want to do that too. So from that idea, the breakfast talks were born. So I'm sorry, my children are making a lot of noise. I don't know if you hear them. I need to buy new. They don't work anymore. So for me, this year has been I've become again like a new person. So much has changed when it was a coincidence that this morning I was listening again to a call. Sometimes, you know, when I'm cleaning, I'm just putting on a Zoom call. And it was Mother Resonance that I put on. And it was in the beginning. So Pai said something like, just exposing yourself to this training is going to change you. And I was thinking about how much I have been changed during this last year. It has been not only based on my person, but also you can feel that there has been a roof. It opened. So something in my head has opened. I have much more ideas. I feel very stable. There has been now a death in my family. Yesterday we buried him, and it was so painful. But at the same time, I could carry or hold that pain. So that was not something that I used to do more than a year ago. Now for next year, there are going to be some changes in Belgium. We're going to keep on going with the online studies for the Dutch part, speaking part, but also now for the French speaking part. And I can see with some people of the Belgium training that they're taking, they're feeling like inner dance is a thing that they want to build on for the next year. So I'm grateful, and if I think they know that if they need some support or that we're always here. I can see some of them here in the call, by the way. I'm seeing next week Katarina, and she still doesn't know, but I want to propose something to her too, as she is in the south of France. But I will talk to her next week. The breakfast talks are on too. For next year, we start as from the middle of January. Again, we're following the mandala. So there's always something new. Ahilan and I are planning new trainings too. I'm thinking about collaborating much more. So if some of you feel they want to come to Belgium and do something together, just contact me. It would be amazing to do something with you guys. Yeah. So I want to thank Pai also for just who he is. Very grateful for who you are. Thank you.
Yes, hello everybody. I will just talk. Hi, Pi, how are you? It's my first time that I talk since the whole year. So my journey started with the floor being in Muscat, Oman, where I currently live. And then this is when I learned more about the inner dance. And I went through that journey and I was not confident at all. And Floor every time kept telling me, let go, stop controlling everything around you. And I'm someone who is very dedicated to studies. So every time I go tell her, I don't understand what is that. I don't understand what is saying. I don't know what is this. And she kept saying, like, let it go, let it go, trust the process. And now I am luckily to tell you that I have opened a space in the school called Dream Sound Space, where parents, children by age from 8 to 13 years old are going to that space. It's the first space in Gulf and Middle East, which, yeah, honestly, it was a big change for me. I earned a lot of confidence through the Middle East people, which we shared a lot, in that process of how can I improve myself or what I can do. And sometimes I just go up and down, and sometimes I cry. Even with your talks, sometimes I don't understand some of the words. So I was like, what is that? What is he saying? And then I go watch it again and again. Yeah, so it's been a year full of challenges for me, because I've entered a definite like I think that I didn't understand what's happening to my body, but I do understand there is something, a puzzle, a piece of the puzzle is missing. And do I feel complete in 2025? Not yet, but I feel like more into I have achieved something that I wanted to do, more about myself, to let go, to accept myself or where I am at, to respect that this is the process and not to be in control with everything. So I would like to thank you, Pi, for that, and definitely we'll be looking forward for more. And thank you, Floor. Thank you as well, Gulf, and everybody for that journey.
Hola a todos, soy Natalia. Val, ¿te puedo pedir el favor sote de traducir, por favor?
Claro, Michelle.
Gracias. Bueno, yo llegué a innerdance por la necesidad de entender cómo funciona esta energía.
I came to innerdance with the necessity of finding out how this energy works.
Y resultó que descubrí cómo funciono yo.
And it turned out that I learned how I actually function myself.
Y las capas que me componen, y que gracias a innerdance puedo ir descubriendo y desintegrando.
And the stages that I unfold and what innerdance can allow me to discover and be.
Amé la filosofía y el estudio que hay detrás de innerdance.
I loved the philosophy and the studies that holds the space of innerdance.
He integrado el mandala y la semilla de la vida con sus colores a mi vida.
I've integrated the mandala and the seeds of life that now conform part of my life.
Vine por respuestas y encontré muchísimas, incluso por las que no venía.
I was looking for answers and I have the answers, but I actually have answers of the things that I didn't know needed answers.
Y lo más valioso es que me surgen a cada rato más preguntas, pero ahora encontré la manera de encontrar las respuestas en mí.
And the most beautiful thing is that I continue to have questions. And the most beautiful part is that I know now how to answer them within me.
Reconozco a Pai su dedicación y años de experimentar y estudiar esta energía para podernos dar digerida.
I recognize the studies and the experience that Pai has to be able to teach it and give us this clear information of what this is through your own experience and knowledge, Pai.
El camino ha sido desafiante, emocionante, fascinante.
The road has been emotional, fascinating, defiant.
Y no soy ni el 50% de lo que era hace un año, en diciembre del año pasado.
And I'm not even at 50% of who I was last December.
Reconozco que aún me falta por deconstruir y reconstruir, pero ahora tengo innerdance, así que muchas gracias.
I recognize that I still have to reconstruct and construct, but now I have ahora tienes que, mi amor?
Innerdance.
And now she has innerdance in her life. Gracias, mi cielo.
Gracias.
Hi, Pi, everyone. I just want to really thank all of you for doing this together at different times and different locations. This experience has honestly been so transforming for me. I joined in late, and when I joined, I remember honestly, Pi, I did not understand most of what you were talking about. And it was so fast and a lot of words. And I spent a lot of time just trying to understand what are we talking about. However, soon enough, I learned obviously from Flora about innerdance and voice activation. And I was always so amused about the space that Flora holds. And later on, I understood it was because even if it was voice activation, it always had innerdance. Then something very strange, I would say, happened was that when we were talking about the red and we entered the mandala, like all my sense of security was pulled away. All what I owed, all what I had basically in my life was completely stripped away. And I had to find my security within innerdance, within this community, and staying the path, you know, because it's so easy to lose focus when you're stripped down to nothing. And it was really stripped down to nothing. Yeah. And then later on, when we entered the blue, I was doing my Vipassana. So I feel like innerdance has opened a lot in me, even if I attended the calls or didn't attend the call. We were just discussing that, like being late on calls or not catching up. Like there's no such thing. Once you're in, you're in. There's this energy, there's this space that holds you. And somehow we were all going through it, even if we didn't talk, even if we didn't see each other for like weeks or months, but then we'd get together even as Middle East group and we'll be catching up and like similar things would be happening, affecting exactly where we are within this year journey. So yeah, this is fascinating, honestly. So my utmost gratitude for you, Pi, for you, Flor, always. And for everyone for walking this path. Thank you so much. I feel like so much has changed and I can't believe it's just a year. It feels like so much longer, but at the same time, so much shorter. But here's the paradox within the paradoxes. Thank you so much, everyone. Much love to you. And if you're ever considering to work in the Middle East, please reach out. We'd love to have you with us.
I can talk. It's so difficult to know where to start. because it's so many things. I think at first innerdance for me was help with sleep, which was super important for me. And it still is super. I spent most of the night with innerdance in my ears, so I'm still super grateful for that, and I cannot wait to start experimenting, making my own sleep playlists. And I love to hand them out to others. But then it has been a whole other journey as well. I think a few weeks after I started the innerdance journey, I had all my fears surfacing, all of them. All of them. So it has been quite a crazy year, but then also a year in which I had so many big steps. I finally let go of my job in the pharmaceutical industry at last, after years of taking the preparation and saying I was going to do it, but finally doing it, finally doing what I want to do, still with an everyday inner dance of am I going to make it, but doing it. And that's so much. I think what helped me a lot was, Sophie also said that too, is like everything is welcome in inner dance, all the polarities. And since I've always been fascinated by bridging worlds and bridging polarities, it was like I could finally start to also accept more polarities into myself. And going back to also the science world, because I had left it a bit behind. And so I'm still journeying between, on the bridge between what is spirituality and science to me, and where does it join? And I think that is super exciting. And that was what, during all the talks, that was always what excited me most, where you would join these polarities in philosophy and science and everything. I think that's my way of experiencing unity. Yeah. So yeah, I couldn't be more grateful, and I feel like there's been so many things, and then sometimes I feel like I don't know anything, and then I hear something from a call, and it's like, yeah, it's something, it's somewhere. And I think it's the first time in my life that I don't need to see all the folders and the structure in that way. And then when Evie was also in the course, asked me to start giving workshops on the different colors, my first reaction was, oh no, no, no. And now I'm actually super excited to because that's, I feel that will bring everything together, her things, my things, and then the whole vast knowledge that we were given. So thanks a lot. I could talk for more time. I want to thank Sophie as well, because I have never done a course with someone who is that much. There's nothing more I can say. Yeah, Sophie, it was amazing with you. So yeah.
Hi, everybody. Maybe I can come in. I'm also feeling very emotional as I sort of consciously acknowledge and honor how this year is for me. Started off on a real high after like the transformation in Turkey last year, and in the first month, I was dreaming of death. In every dream, I was dying in the most crazy and imaginative ways and lucidly, and I fatigued my adrenal glands and spiraled into this huge death process, like arriving with this baby brain and being invited to face really early wounding in my life about actually language and translation, and coming up against the parts of me that don't feel able to translate that which is inside of me in a way that others can understand. It's been such there's been a lot of tension with that, and I've not always met myself with grace. And the beauty that is inner dance consciousness guided me to be working behind locked doors in prison. And it's so humbling to be in that space with these guys, and they're such phenomenal teachers. And I've been learning how to translate the philosophies and the science in ways that are accessible to them, that bypass, or maybe not bypass, but sidle up to their resistances and their deep fears, so that they can trust and yield into their own innate potency and self-healing capacities. I shared with Pi earlier, I've been collecting some data to apply for more funding, and one of the guys wrote that he's still taking drugs in prison, but that the substances aren't having the same effect upon him now that he does inner dance. And I'm awestruck by this level of rewiring in the body, that, and also his recognition that there's something about the work that we're doing, the inner dance is enabling him to change that pathway in his body. And another guy the other week, he had damage in his tear duct. He could only cry out of one eye. And last week, during an inner dance, he was able to cry out of both eyes. So there's this cellular restructuring. And yeah, I'm continuously mind blown by the community of healing that's taking place in the work. And Lisa Butcher and I have been invited to take inner dance to some of the jails in America. So we'll be over in January to introduce that as part of a peer support program that's in place. And yeah, if you told me this time last year that that's what 2024 was going to be, I would not have believed you. So I'm deeply curious about what's been sort of the skin I've been shedding this year to make space for whatever's coming next year. I'm being published in a prison newspaper, a UK newspaper. It's going to be available in paper form and electronically. I'm not sure when that's coming out. So I'm really hopeful that that will pique curiosity in other prisons around the country, that conversations can take place and that maybe doors can open for other facilitators. And I'm looking forward to developing some work to support us inner dancers to cultivate our own authorship and to work with inner dance consciousness to develop a writing to integrate the philosophies and the science and to find a way to write it. So yeah, there's just so much creativity coming through. Yeah. So infinitely grateful, always humbled by the grace and beauty that is this energy and the spaces that we're co-creating. And yeah, I think that's all I need to say right now. thank you, everybody. And following on from Val and everybody, and Sophie, if anyone wants to come to Scotland or you want me to come to you, let's co-create and make some magic. I'd love that. Much love.
I think I can say a few things, I reckon. I certainly feel like my brain is a completely different shape to my January 2024 brain. That's for sure. I become like much more of a nerd. It's like it's brought out that inner nerd, and I've been really, really excited about it. I think there's been so much to get my teeth stuck into, information-wise, and I think that's something about the innerdance that's always been kind of fascinating to me, is like threading ideas laterally and seeing the commonalities between them, where they synthesize and dovetail. For me, a lot of it came down to symbols and being able to hang multiple concepts off similar symbols. And so there was lots of things that really I guess just looking at symbols and while listening to Pi's ideas and trying to understand the concepts was really powerful. And the ones that were most prominent this year was like the cross was big, the yin yang was huge, the Star of David was also really big as well, and some others as well. But just seeing how these symbols provide almost like a visual framework for what Pi's been talking about has been really, really big. And I found, so after a while, I found I would digest the calls better if I listened to the recording, but I would listen to it on double speed. So I was listening to Pi on double speed for most of the year. But I found my brain started to adapt to it. So after a while, when I logged onto the calls, it's like, oh, I wonder if he's ill today. He seems to be speaking a bit slowly. But then I remembered it's just because my brain has been used to like 2x Pi, listening on YouTube. But I found that a really good way to double speed and then pause, and then double speed and pause, to get the gist of the information and map it in Canva. And I think Canva and ChatGPT have been like my digital gods this year. I really have learned how to produce PDFs in a way that's just got more and more exciting as the years progressed. And the tools that are available now to be able to flesh out an understanding of these concepts it's incredible. And there's actually a lot of the intellectual stuff that really makes a lot of sense now. And I'm also aware of how much deeper there is to go. And I guess I would have to kind of read back through some of the early stage PDFs to see if I still understood it intellectually. in the way that I did when I felt like I was talking about that stuff. Because what I also noticed was when I was in the doing the call, some of the calls, the local group calls, that just talking about it, it actually came together really well enough with certain prompts from PDFs, and I can really see what I was talking about in regards to learning music, because it's been one thing to inload stuff, and I really enjoyed some of the newer playlists to sleep with and playing around with those things, but like the creative act and getting the creative stuff going and doing your own stuff is that process of transformation. You are kind of oranging and yellowing and bluing through green and all of that. So it's like having some skill with the tools is really powerful. Yeah, I just feel really different. It's been kind of a hell of a year anyway. And when I started, I was in the UK, and now I'm in Spain, and I don't know where I'm going to go after Christmas. But the trust that has been built through it, and I think somebody in Floor's room there mentioned that when the calls came about, there was a relevance, like a real life relevance to what was happening, and it kind of culminated in the call. I often found that as well. So on the weeks where we were talking about specific colors, which I think really tied it all together to me. I think for me, the color mapping in the last semester was really powerful. I could feel things happening in my life that were relevant, that then made it into the call, or some certain things that it was almost like speaking on behalf of the color in some way, or languaging something from the color that was working itself out through me, I guess. It's such a phenomenal body of work as well, like the breadth and the depth of it, and I can really see how having the experiences again and again and again, and then having the knowledge and in high definition, like the fine tune, like the granularity of the concepts and the symbols, and structuring the mind holds more space for just it to naturally, it really does feel like that merging of the dream consciousness with the waking consciousness. And that's been great to walk around with. It's been great to have those kinds of connections and synaptic firings and action potentials and all of that, just wandering around in the street like, oh yeah, this is this. And I found like this, with the higher definition that's become, the intellectual concepts, the more body relaxation has become, because there's a place for everything, like a context for everything. It's not just suffering and storylines about X, Y, Z. It's like there's a place to put things, and when there is a place to put things and a context, the psychological resistance to the experiences just seems to really diminish a lot, because it's like, all right, another chance to practice what's being preached here and strengthen some understanding, and it's really, I don't know, I just find things just dovetail together very nicely. So I feel very much in a trust place with it at the moment. And I don't know, it's exciting. It feels exciting. I feel immensely grateful for the opportunity to be on it and to do these things, and for everybody who is participating as well, for Pi for this immensity of a year. It's been something quite spectacular. So thank you, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ines from Belgium. I'm also really nervous at this moment and very emotional. It was for me mind-blowing the way you speak. I feel, Tupai, I feel sometimes I thought it's the same language. I know what he means. And it's amazing how you can find the words. Wow. Once I called Sophie, also very emotional. I said, "Oh, this is my process," and she said, "But that's the call from Pi." What he told, I sometimes I can't listen to the calls, and I can feel it. It was nice. It was really, really nice. I'm very happy because of innerdance. I find a way to search after the fire back. I'm really happy. I have thousands of ideas. Also for innerdance. Most of the time I work with children. My job is work with children, teenagers. And when I put the innerdance up, they always talk, how are we going to sleep? And the expressions of the children, whoa. It's a start. For me, it's a start for something really beautiful. How, I don't know really at this moment, but at the wrong time, at the right time, at the place, it will find a way. I have a lot of ideas now. Thank you. And also to Sophie for many translations, calls. Thank you, everyone. Sometimes I feel your energy and it's beautiful. But yeah, I'm really emotional. This is the last call. I really hope we have sometimes a call. Please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I feel really grateful also. Thank you for all the sharings, and I feel the vibrant green tonight, and this link between all parts and whole. For me, this was really something expanding like this during this whole year, because it was thank you really, Pi, to offer this space where we have this dialogue between all your thoughts that you could develop for those 9 months, 1 year, but also like the discussion and the dialogue between you and the different scales of the community. And this was really like for me, a dialogue on every part between all that we could listen during all those different calls, the way we could dialogue with it also, like watching the replay. And for me, it was very useful also to summarize it for the team in French, especially for those who who are not so easy to understand the English part. So I was doing summaries also in French, and this was a dialogue, but also the dialogues between all the different trainers who could also share the documents or share their visions. So it was like different, another scale of a dialogue among this. And then all the dialogue with our group. And it was 1 year of regular meeting where we could really share an open space where everyone can deposit how they feel, how they are with the sessions. In front, we had mostly like already experienced facilitators. So it was really leading to deep questions about the process of transformation. And so I really want to thank all the different parts that made this whole possible. And for me personally, in my journey, there's something that I really connected to was also like the violets, like the monad that kept almost hunting me. Like the monad that we are whole and it's all in the whole, and the link between the what is very small and what is on a bigger scale. And I really felt how useful it was to because we started with the violet and then we came back to the violet again, I think in September. And so it was coming back to it, revisiting it. And it's like, for me, like the really start, like if you really consider that it's all in the person, then there's nothing to do as a facilitator, only to hold the trust and to be there. And when this is really like incarnated in the cells, it makes it also so much easier to transmit, not to explain, but just to be there with the people who are discovering the innerdance, because there's nothing you have to really learn or you have to really do, because it's not about the facilitator. It's about holding this trust and holding the trust in the person that came. And sometimes there are lots of things going about explaining that the transmission or resonance and, like all this image that can come also with the social media. But then when you come back to the essence of the violet, that it's all there in the person, there's nothing more to explain, because it's already there, and it's and there's nothing to do, it's obvious. It becomes very simple, actually. And then we could kind of dive or explore different forms of this concept with the different other colors. But I found out that almost at every end of my course, I wanted to come back to the violets, that the monad is the first thing. And this, I think I never had such a clarity about this as strong before. Like this was really like I wear violet today, actually. So yes, thank you also very much for this clue, and this clue with the dialogues. I found really that this inner conversations we had was really a different way to hold sessions and to have sessions almost during the calls, also between this flow of information and the structure, and letting go of retaining things that we have to remember from the calls, but just letting it like kind of infuse in ourselves and and that's actually enough, because it's already all there. So yeah, it was really like a journey. And yeah, also I was reflecting on the fact that I remember you chose a 9 months timing for this program, so 3 times 3 months. And I'm now pregnant, and I was thinking, okay, I took it literally. So no, I mean, this other birthing process. So I always thought so much that the children are connected to the innerdance, and my first baby was already for me an innerdance baby. And I didn't expect this way to have a second innerdance baby, but finally I thought, okay, this program is is connected to this to this event in my individual life, but this is also like this conversation between what is happening in life, and innerdance is not separate from what we live. It's just the way we live, actually, and this synchronicity always between this way of holding space and this way of just being alive, being present in this journey of life. So I feel, of course, very grateful for you, Pi, for holding the space, for all the informations you gave to us, all the things that we understood and did not understand, but also very grateful to the whole community, the local community, the global community. And often I was not there directly in live because it's a family time for me usually this time, but I was often in replay. But I really felt connected to all of you. So also want to take a opportunity tonight to say a big thanks and a big hug to the community. That would be all for me. Before I become emotional also.
Hey everyone. Sorry I cannot put on my camera because I have no light. I'm in my house, it's so dark here. How to start? So first I think I need to say thank you to Pi for give us this opportunity to all our trainers community to be able to share all your knowledge with all our groups, our local groups. If I need to find a word for this year, for me, it was like a challenge. This was the challenge for me in a lot different ways. First, it was my first time to do an online training. Normally I did it in person, and for me it's easy to do in person and be with the people face to face, but was the first time for me to do it online, and this for me was my first challenge. Then also living here in Maya, the second challenge was the timing that we have to wake up every Zoom call at 1 at night and be present and take notes, and then sometimes to watch it again because it was not so clear for me and had to recap. And again, I have so many notes in paper, in my iPad, I have notes everywhere. And then to be able to translate in the way that my local group was able to maybe understand better, even if they talk all English, and was easy for them. So I need to say thank you also for my group to make it easy. For me, it was a super nice way to share and to learn with them together. Not only me, we were learning together, and we were going in this journey this year, the group together. And was so beautiful to see them, how they went so deep in this time. And was beautiful to grow with them also. It was a super nice group. And the other challenge, I think, was for me also to, even if I am already like 4 years with Pi learning, it was like in each Zoom call was something new. And I said, oh my God, again, something new to learn. Wait. So it's always, it's always the learning process that is never ending. It's like the never-ending story, always learning. And yeah, so I think that's it. So grateful, the challenge, my group, and everything in this year was wonderful. So thank you, Fi, for trusting us, and yeah, and thank you all for being here with us.
Anyone else like to share?
Maybe I share. Yeah. Yeah. So we had these girls are here because we've met for one more last 1 hour call with the group. And so last year, Pai said, "You're gonna like this. We're gonna do something." And then he described this, and I'm like, no, it's too long. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's scary. And then it happened, and it's been quite a year. Quite a year. I was just telling this too earlier, like so touching to see this global community and to see all these faces and knowing that this is your family now, this is your tribe, and these are all just visions before, and it has grown so much. It's very, very humbling to be with all of you and to see everyone, like my group, for example, to witness everyone in their journeys and to be part of this group, this whole community. Like my 2024 looks like I can avoid everyone else, but I'm with my inner dance online group. Like I'm quiet with the world, but I'm with my inner dance online group. It became my core family. And it has been so trippy to be with the people in Maya, and we're all in our Zoom calls. Like there was a time during COVID that we were so obsessed with seeds, and all of us were like exchanging seeds. Like, what seed do you have? What what baby vegetable do you have? Can we exchange? And in this time, it's like everyone's holding a community in our own vicinities, in our own spaces, in our own countries. So one thing that I always have to remind myself and the group or people I talk to is that it just evolves nonstop. The question I've had is what will happen or what will be different in the next calls or in the next intensives. And Christina said it. Christina said it, like every Zoom call, there's something new. There's a new word, there are new topics, there are new delicate thing and portals to open. And I cannot express that enough, that we are growing nonstop as a community. This energy, this practice is growing nonstop, and it's so alive, and it just wants to keep growing through all of us, through Pi, through every single person that we get to touch, every single person that we get to connect to, we get to talk to, we get to share this work with. And I'm so honored to be part of this community we're in. We're taking this work to places and spaces that are never usually receiving these kinds of works. And everyone that's working with children in prisons and all sorts of spaces way beyond the workshops is really what I'm most proud of in this work that we do. And yeah, the last day of training in Maya, or the second to the last day of training in Maya, and I lay down in the journey and I cried the whole time through, because I as a person laying down, receiving touches from people, I was crying the whole time, thinking, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I love this work. This is why I share this work. It's because it's so beautiful, and it's so more than it is powerful, it is so beautiful. And I feel that that's more powerful than power itself. And thank you everyone for being here with us, and thank you to the Middle East group for trusting me. Thank you, Pai. I cannot describe enough how Pai is doing his non-human work in this very human work. And yeah, that's all. Thank you, and love to everyone. May we all continue this thing that we do, that is inner dance, within us and with everyone around us.
Anyone else would like to share? It feels like we've been here forever, but I checked the time. We've been like a little bit, like an hour. This is so much in all of your sharings. Who would like to contribute? Okay, so I could speak a little bit um, while we're here, like doing integration work, so that others who might want to share more later, you could just catch up and do so. Okay, I thought maybe I would go into what is to come, as well as what this year had contributed, because there are many things that we were doing like this year. Okay, sorry, this is for this ongoing Maya family training happening this week. So, let me activate my pencil. So, 2024 was a lot for the inner dance community. Like we deserved it. It was maybe a couple of years after COVID had hit, and COVID was a very formative year in inner dance, particularly maybe the years 2021. 2022, things got a little bit busy already, but 2021 was very, very powerful. I would say 2021 to 2022. There was 2022 to 2022 was already like things were normalizing. So we took advantage of this time because the world really slowed down. Honestly, for those who stated that there was always something new in all of the calls, I'm gonna be honest with all of you. I actually was holding back. This is as far as I am right now in terms of getting being able to share, but this is not what my brain looks like. My brain looks a lot more complex and weird, but this is me in translation, and I'm really glad that this happened because I was able to ground so much of like for me, my brain looks more like it's very cosmic, yet it's very messy. Because I've had all these experiences over the last pretty much nearing 2 decades of inner dance, like 20 years of holding inner dance space. So my goal was to bring all of that to earth. So the year was blessed because there was a translation between what was up there and what is down here. And so the process isn't so much we can never really entirely like look at what's up there, and what's down here is so deep. So I think what matters is the process of um being in the middle of what goes up and what goes down. I think that was the point. That was the whole point. Um but as we know, that point is really just a starting point. Like we're not here to close anything. When people attend trainings, they want the manual, they want like, but that already kills it, and when people try to get the complete thing, that means you might have institutionalized, you might have academized, you might have finalized the thing. And I think the moment you close something is the moment it begins to die. The moment you say, okay, I get it now, it's like done. That's the moment it's actually already dying. And that can happen to whether it be like a person, even with like a language. When you try to finalize a language, that's the moment a language would die. And there are dead languages like in the world. When you stop the evolution, when you stop when it becomes a being, and when it stops becoming, I think that's when it dies. Like when you think of God as a being, you can actually kill the concept of God. You can make it static. You can make it a thing. So when people use the word, we're in this training right now, and a lot of people come from Kundalini activation. So I don't even say anything when I'm um in the lunch table and people are asking about like Kundalini this, inner dance that. I'm tired of going into the same conversations. Um, it, I wanted to contribute to the conversation, but it wasn't the right time. You know, Ituri was she's really good at hosting these conversations. But what I wanted to say, what I wanted to say, and I could say it here is, it could be the same as with inner dance or God or goddess or universe. When people use Kundalini as a noun, then I feel that's when people start to lose the point. Like people would literally ask me, how do I know if my Kundalini is awake? How do I know that I have a Kundalini at all? Then people are referring to Kundalini as a thing. And it could be the same thing with inner dance. When people say inner dance as a noun, then in a way we're killing it. You know, like for me, Kundalini is more like a verb. It shouldn't be treated as a thing. It needs to be treated as a process. And when you put something in a box and when you try to contain it, when you try to finish it, when you try to complete it, like you know, like this is the most powerful thing. But that's still a thing, you know. It doesn't allow it to be anything else than what you are thinking that it is. So that may as well be inner dance and anything else that you call you know, a thing. So we have to respect this energy is always in the process of becoming. And it was Floor who was the most consistent that had always spoken to me. You just don't stay still. It's like every time we uncover the inner dance, the knowledge part is one thing. But the thing is the way we hold the music always changes. It's so interesting how the inner dance expresses itself differently. It's always growing musically. And because music holds the language of frequency and vibration, it should not sit still. Like we can't stagnate because we are meant to remember just how deep and big and you know, like complex we are. You know, we are going to grow in wisdom and creativity forever, but way beyond the time we are gone. We would still be in a process of construction. So it was bound to happen that um, the post-COVID moment that was slow would catch up with the speed. And when I noticed the speed showing up, let's say from here to here and then coming to here, because we would travel to Europe and we would observe the process in the West, like really people getting excited, speeding up, and in the East as well. I felt so. What happened was I was in Turkey last year, and like Flora was there, so I was able to talk to her, channel this thing that I was speaking to other people like Antonia and Tom and Lisa and Christina, just people who were already doing trainings or potentially would be doing trainings. It's like, okay, can maybe we can collaborate. And what I had to offer was a curriculum for those who still had yet to catch up with looking at like the notes that could construct a one year thing. My goal was very, very simple. I knew that things would get faster like in these years. And because I knew that that was going to happen, I knew that what needed to take place, it wasn't just economic development. It wasn't just, you know, like elections. It was also war, conflict. All of that would be part of the fast within the process of crisis, which is the critical period, a critical period of growth where there would be a lot of pressure to to deconstruct and then to construct. I knew that what would be needed at this particular time is this. We need to slow things down, because if things just kept going faster and faster, we would lose it. What had been, okay, just the ancient, everything that we've ever been, we would lose the insight that the species had gained all of this time it's been here. Because that's always been inner dance. Inner dance had always been respecting the wave, the rhythm, the circadian rhythm, which had stored the super old, and the rhythm was changing. Okay, the rhythm was changing post COVID. So I felt inner dance had to do a service to the world. It had to unravel and store. No, not store, to unstore what had been stored. So now we're here, and we have to celebrate what had been. So what are the breakthroughs? I would say, for one, the website called Life 1A was something I constructed. It actually took me 2 days to construct this, the wiki pages in Life 1A. The website had, I think, been there, but it just got rehashed, and the mandala there was really quite important and unique. I wouldn't really believe that the wiki in Life 1A is by any means complete. Like, it's a process, and it's really just a set of placeholders so that so let's say we have the Zoom calls. These are live, and then these are uploaded to YouTube, just so we can have a dialogue about these. The Zoom calls happen in time, what the website or wiki holds in space. What is in space doesn't really change as dynamically as what needs to unravel within the dialogue. It needs to unravel. There has to be a dialogue. Without the dialogue, we wouldn't have access to the space. Okay, so they are interacting with each other. This cross thing that I keep drawing again and again. I would never stop drawing this, because we need to look at what are we made of, how are we constructed. So that this was a really big breakthrough, actually, to try to construct that website, just so we have a kind of base. Okay, so this is the base, and we kept going back to the website again and again, so that the Zoom calls knew that they were going to be coming from somewhere. And that base was really just like where inner dance had been, like all of the inner dance processes over the 18, 19 years. We needed to document what had been there. We needed to construct a base. We need to honor all the inner dances that had been there, to conduct a process of induction and deduction, to take in all of the parts. We needed to collect every part, okay, to honor all of the part, to validate, to state that every single part was important. No part was wasted. Everything was important that brings us to this holistic moment. That we included everything. Everyone was included, including the processes that were not called inner dance. It's all one community. There is no separation between all of the different groups. It's all one thing. It all comes from the same process that is shared. No matter what people call it, it didn't matter. It was all one process. So I think that was also quite important for 2024. There was a moment of collaboration and inclusion, where we took in everything and everyone from everywhere, everywhen, and we made it all one. Okay, it's all one experience. So it all brings together like a base, which gathers the experiences and the insights. It's like, what do we know now from all of that time, from all those experiences? Every single one of you mattered, and everyone that is not you, outside of you, it had to matter. The Chinese, the Indians, the Egyptians, the Africans, the Australians, the Singaporeans, the all across the West and in North America, South America, it all mattered. We had to harvest and make it all one, and it all had to be represented. So these Zoom calls spoke for the entire Earth that's able to look back at itself through just one modality, the inner dance modality. It's like, who am I now as an Earth that's able to look back at itself as an Earth that is conscious, an Earth that is that is what consciousness is. It's that which is able to look and be aware and to be conscious. So um it's very much a mirroring process. It's like a looking back. And we haven't had that chance. Okay, like you could try to look at what might be already in Wikipedia and what already might be in Khan Academy and YouTube, TED Talks. But it's really important that when you look at Wiki, the problem there is it's accumulative. And so information there would diverge. Information within Wikipedia would just go into all kinds of hyperlinks. As soon as you open one topic, it would just go into another topic. So what Inner Dance at least hope to contribute is, how do you integrate all of the divergent properties? Not just with Wikipedia, when you think of social media, people just post all everything all the time. It's like it just keeps accumulating data. So what was needed was a way to process all of that data. There had to be a mode of convergence. Because if we just keep accumulating like all of these different dots and points and parts and stuff, it's very hard at one point to put that together. Like, what is the point of synthesis? And we do know that humans are always synthesizing and integrating, but there had to be a certain way that this would work. And so inner dance was a corresponding technology to what was also set to work itself out, like it was going to be that it's like a bell curve. It's like a hypothetical increase in amounts of, let's say, people in the world, the usage of fossil fuels, the access to information. It was going to reach peak a peak point. So if I go back to these years, thinking about that, actually just now, people were thinking about the end of the Mayan calendar in 2021. If you understand your geology, if you understand resource depletion on Earth and climate change and so on and so forth, 2021 was a peak year. Okay, like in many ways, a lot had peaked in 2021 in terms of the amount of oil underneath the ground, what sort of nutrients are in the soil, clean air that's available, water that's available, forests that have been denuded. 2021 reached the peak, and in some ways, this is one way to understand the Vesica Pisces. Something was also undergoing an energy descent. Something was going to fall, even as we, as humans, wanted to reach for an ascent. That is why the words rising, Kundalini rising, awakening, enlightenment, like that's incomplete if we don't accommodate for the energy descent that is also needing to happen in the world that would balance out Like it's basically what would come after the peak. It's the post-peak moment. So there's that. Humans intuitively know that these years are special. 2021 to say 2024 into 2025. These years are important because these years are the transition. And I've been waiting for this moment. I knew that this moment would come, even in my solitude, like in the island. I knew that I was preparing for something. And when I served the world, when I brought my service to the world, when I brought my love to the world, I knew that this moment was important. So I've been conducting inner dance for 18 to 19 years. And that has many facets. I've done the energy thing, and then I've done the knowledge thing. I've also done the community service thing, whether it be disaster management, schools, working with government companies, addiction, and so on and so forth. I've done all of those, and I would say the bulk of my inner dance life, it might seem like it was energy, but it really has to do with this. I knew that if I did not work hard enough, um, we wouldn't be ready. We wouldn't actually arrive at this moment, like these moments. We would not have the notes. We wouldn't have the credibility. We wouldn't be able to validate this. We wouldn't present this to the world in a way that would balance at exactly the time when the world would reach that imbalance because of this, like if you understand my story, like the reason why I lived alone was because I wanted to be in integrity with oil, with ancient light. I wanted to sustain myself in the world in the most responsible way, because I knew that we cannot just keep going up. We couldn't just keep um thinking that we're here in the world to consume energy. We had to become the source of energy from within. uh Energy can be information, emotion, or energy. And I knew we had to be ready. So listening to all of you, I'm really happy because I do feel that there's enough of a convergent point. And when there is a convergence, what takes place is an emergence. Okay. When you do have like a black hole, what you get in a black hole is um a black hole in truth. I don't know if I can change this one. Okay. A, a, a black hole is basically like a point. Oops. It's actually the point of the point prior to the Big Bang. That's the black hole. The end is the beginning of the end of the beginning of the end of the beginning. So the moment we're able to converge all the parts into a whole, what happens is emergence, and emergence is life. It's the ability to just live, to go back out there. This is what happens at the point of the near death. No, not even near. Let's say the moment you die is the moment you birth. So in many ways, this is what we had to do, because I know that it's possible. I've watched like individuals do it. I've seen myself do it. But what I was yearning for is that, okay, I know that everyone else out there is on the way to the same thing. And like what hasn't been seen is a community. It's like more and more people doing it as one, mirroring each other. It's all a one process, yet it's many. And we wanted to see, is there a way in which we can possibly do this alone, all one. That is one of the biggest gifts the inner dance gives. It helps you to be alone, but we're alone together. And there's something very, very healing and satisfying about that. At the end of the day, you're always going to be alone. But if you can be alone with other people who are independent and finding the answers from within themselves, then you're not alone. Uh, you know, uh, and in that alone together, there will be this understanding of how oneness actually works. Like how are we built as really just one being living one day inside one room, pretending there's many. That mystery would it would become clear because that's what inner dance hopes to clarify. How did we construct this whole thing? And it's going to have to be the point of we have to converge onto each other. We have to surrender, we have to die unto each other, we have to become each other. And then we would be able to emerge as individuals once again. So this is this for me is the gift. This is where what color is this? This is yellow. This excites me. This is where we're headed. This is 2025 basically. I've had these outlines in the past. Okay, so we're happy to give this to you. We just ask your whoever's conducting your local group for access. You just have to download this particular app. It's called Knowledge Base Builder. And then we can give you these files, and they're so much easier to navigate as compared to the website. Like you can like I embedded my notes, and you can add your own. You can add other people's notes. This is when I was studying in Helsinki, and but then you could also just open the Wikipedia. It's already embedded. You don't need to be online in order to access that. So we're talking to the creator of this particular app. I find it quite powerful. He's in Germany. So Ahilan is now speaking to him, and it looks like there's a way that we can collaborate on building this map together. So even as you're studying, you would be able to embed like the things that you would see that I wouldn't see and others wouldn't see. So I press the 3D, and this is the map. It's so much easier to see the connections. So you can see, okay, that's the inner layer and that's the outer layer, that's the limbic system. And then that's light, and then that there are all these interconnections with light. And someone bore the question, what if we just did the whole mandala, the 7 colors in just one map? That just blew my mind. It's like, wow, okay. I don't know if I can handle that, but that would be interesting as well. I think this is easier to work with than the website. I think we still would need a website, like a wikification of the ideas. But I think this is good. Not just in a way that I would build it, but I would like you to see yourself building your own mind, right? It could be very simple. You could start from scratch, and you can just start with like that could be your that could be your thing. And then whatever might come up, it could be like it could be like this, and or it could be like that. And then you could start with that, whatever that is, right? And then it would branch out into uh uh whatever. It could branch out into anything else that the inner dance map like holds, right? So I think this is exciting. I would love to see us work on this as a community, and we can continue some of the dialogues in Studios Mundos. But I think this would be the time to help you understand that because we were able to do this thing in 2024, we cannot not look at the next space. So I want to empower you, a lot of you, because you heard like a lot of the so-called trainers speak today, like Carolyn, Tom, Floor, Christina, and so on and so forth. These were the people me personally was just in conversation with last year from October to December. The only reason why they ended up doing these collaborative trainings with me was because I was in a conversation with them. I can't be in conversation with everyone all the time because my contact list is kind of long and I get overwhelmed. So the conversation would continue. Like there could be like new ideas, new collaborations, new possibilities if we stay in conversation with each other. So like here in Maya, we try to hold support systems that would reach out to global processes. And we try to sponsor what we can. We try to sponsor like the internet base and some of the projects that come up and so on and so forth. It would be interesting to decentralize this as well, so we're not always needing to hold the center space. So there are very interesting projects to come up in 2025. For example, like Mario, this Italian who lives in Spain, he's coming up with a I think it's an app that allows facilitators to share music and share something about themselves. A bit like a social media app for facilitators. And he's building it primarily for innerdance, but not just for innerdance. It can be for anyone who shares the same kind of work. There's a game that is being developed out of Lithuania that's been coming up for six years now, maybe even more, that would bring inner dance to schools and families. And it's a very
Pai, you
complex
are
thing.
not sharing.
Oh, shoot. I'm not. Did I stop sharing? Was I sharing when I was sharing the knowledge base builder? Could you guys?
Yes, it's only now when you are putting this game and it's only the last
So
part.
you didn't see this?
No.
Oh, I wish someone
Yes,
told me.
yes. Only the last part.
So the last part I stopped sharing. Or the last part is what you guys saw.
The last part we didn't see.
Okay. All right. So, all right.
We did see the knowledge base builder thing.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So yeah, there are interesting projects. Like there's this game thing that's happening in schools. There are these projects in prisons. I'm particularly interested in the breakfast talks. So it doesn't need to be during breakfast, but I think Sophie, you need to do a write-up to document your process and experiences and feedback so that people can possibly replicate that in their own setting. I think that would be a big thing to think about. There's something very inspiring about what Sophie is doing, and thank you for acknowledging that you got inspired by something valid. This model looks at the possibility where people would lay down, and when that happens, it's because they received a lot more context. So the model that's arising out of Belgium is where people wouldn't lay down. Actually, they would go into 3 hour, maybe longer, maybe shorter dialogues over coffee and orange juice and croissants. And without laying down, people would go even deeper in the process. But there are people who are attending these talks who would then want to lay down because they want to experience what's being talked about. But without the laying down experience, there's something a lot deeper already happening in people's lives. So I think that's very interesting to think about. That do participants deserve more context whenever they journey? And because a lot of us are in this study group, what would that do? You know, would that give greater permission, greater depth if people understood, if they knew more about the unknown as they stepped into it? I think that would be interesting to bring when we work with like children, when we work with the corporate, basically when we work with almost anyone, practically. So I'm really excited about that. So please, if you have not done so, join Studios Mundos. And we will continue the journeys there. So when we say we're not closing, we're opening, the conversations need to happen there. So studios is not a word that just happenstance. There's a historicity within this word. The studios is a monastery. It's a monastic space in Turkey. So there's a reason why a lot of meetings that formed that brings us to where we are now, it had to begin in Turkey. I had to honor something in Turkey, primarily in terms of the shift from the oral tradition to the literate one. So even as we are shifting into the digital age, when I talk about we had to slow things down, we had to go here and then we had to go here. And even prior to orality, the archaic, the ancient, there was something in Turkey that I needed to borrow from. So studios etymologically still would go into the word to study and the word to create. And we need to now focus on that. Like we're putting so much energy into studying, but there are new for those who weren't able to join the last call, we went into these new applications that would help us move move forward from the noise app. So for those of you who did download this during the training, all good, but there actually were people who didn't download this, so they're not going to receive the old version that was very innerdance based, that allows us to play 5 tracks at the same time. The new app only does one at a time. And there are people who have had the old app and they're writing to me, my iPad crashed and I uploaded my noise and I can only get this and I don't have the old one anymore. So we're moving creatively, musically into new spaces, and that would bring about collaborations in regards to these packs that can be shared. There's more possible collaborations in these applications because here we're merely collaborating with the creator, the owner of the app, who gave us permission to use it. We're the only ones who had the permission to use it. But he didn't actually enjoy giving us permission because he doesn't really want this to be used in public, and we're the only ones he allowed to use this in public. So we feel more in integrity with working with applications that are able to host sounds and noises, frequencies in music that are more inner dance oriented, you know, something that arose and emerged strictly out of inner dance itself. So if you are working within a community, help that community grow, whether it be in the Middle East, the UK, whether it be in Singapore or somewhere, help that grow. If you are building a new community, then collaborate with us, like write to us, write to Christina. If you want to keep studying, study with your group. There will be local language processes there. If you don't belong to a group, and some of you belong to the My group, just write to us and you can continue studying. So I think I'm very careful with this. What's really important is that we understand how we need to collaborate, because that is what is missing in the world. What is happening in many spaces today is competition. People are in this excitement as to looking for what is the new brand, what is the new name, what do I call it? So inner dance is interesting in a way that we don't mind if you call it inner dance or if you call it something else. Inner dance needs to be true to our habit of being inclusive. We don't do exclusivity. We don't say we're the best. We don't say we're the most important. What we hold is we're all part of the same thing, which is humanity and consciousness. So I think it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe Antarctica can be somewhere here, but these would be the continents, whether it be Africa. We now have movements in Africa and the Americas. There'd be Europe, Asia. There's 7 continents, so you can just map that out over there. That's why I put Antarctica there. Maybe I would move there and start the inner dance there, so that, because no one else is going to do it there. I think it would be very interesting to understand how collaborations within regions would happen. So people are talking to each other, no matter what they call the thing. And there would always still be conversations. We would still have peer-to-peer approaches. You know, we would still have a way of checking in with each other where every single node is still the middle. That still holds the heart, so that every time that can hold something, each of these is still like it's still a heart, no matter what. That we don't get confused, you know, that the heart is the heart of all things. If that's your heart, that needs to also be the heart of that bird, that dog, that rock. You know, the essence, the heart, the point needs to be omni. It needs to be everything. So no matter what happens within 2025, what we have to make sure is that we are collaborating, we are supporting, we are like co-building something. We're not just coming up with our own like point. That you're allowed to do that. Go ahead. Like, I've never said anything whenever anyone did that. Okay, so someone did that, and then people want me to complain. People want me to say, okay, that's a bad thing. No, that goes against my first principle of here. If I told someone, okay, don't create another name because inner dance should be the name, I already stagnated it. Okay, it inner dance stopped being a becoming, and it just became like a being, and so it's already dying even as it's being born. I don't want to be ironic to that. That's why I never said anything when someone did something new. Say, okay, you know, if people didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have met a lot of you. Okay, so I'm not against that, but what got lost in the process was um what binds all the parts together, like collaboration, dialogue. So I think it would be interesting to lead into 2025 without losing what we had gained in terms of seeing how the earth is actually interconnected in a mandala. It's not just the colors, it's not just the chakras, it's not just the endocrine glands. It's actually all the insights that would be coming from each of these areas would need to be honored, because they won't be repeatable. We need to find out which particular insights in your own sacred ground, your own neck of the woods, they wouldn't be anything else. We wouldn't see it anywhere else. It would be yours, and it would belong to your community. So we would still undergo a spiritual anthropology here. There still would be an understanding of how do we generate a culture coming from the old that's undergoing recycling, transformation, an emergence, convergence. Yeah, so I think that's also good to hold as a closing, just so we could help you all perceive what would be the next stages. Okay, so I still want to give some space for those who would like to share, because that's what the day is supposed to be about. If anyone would like to sound out what was the year for you, what had changed by way of perspective, worldview, what in your body feels different, and then where do you see inner dance taking you? And where do you see yourself taking inner dance into the next years?
I can say a couple of things about what has been coming up for me in this last month as the calls have been coming to a close, and thinking about maybe what comes next. And the last part of these calls have coincided with me watching this ridiculously long, like a 10-hour documentary on YouTube called Way of the Dream, and it is like a long form interview with Marie-Louise von Franz, who's a Jungian analyst. And I think there's something about that work that really speaks to me a lot. But I think the merging of the scientific and the symbolic stuff really feels relevant to me, and a way of simplifying it for people as well, and making it really accessible. And I've had a couple of ideas for alongside a coaching program, doing kind of one-on-one things with people, but there's process work, but then there's a lot of structural stuff as well. So like the kind of in the terms that I've been thinking about it from innerdance now, it's like the rhythm and the melody. The melody might be like the process work and the changing the melody, and the rhythm might be the daily structures that help people to facilitate people for a different journey. And I've thought about this like a smaller container, like maybe an eight week program or something like that, along the lines of Way of the Dream, where it just gets people to dream a bit differently, but it can be communicated in a way that doesn't kind of fire off a what do you call, like, psychological immune system, where it can kind of come in with some basic science and coaching stuff, and then and talk on the level about music and the brain, and even branch into things like well, I'm trained in hypnotherapy as well, and I see like a lot of playing with hypnotherapy and ASMR and like bilateral stimulation, things like that, within the context of an inner dance playlist, and then using all of the different rhythms has been really fun for me lately. And I feel very grounded in talking about it now. Like I think it'd be quite easy for me to go into an organization or an institution and talk about it on a very scientific level without I know from being in the UK, a lot of people, or at least from where I've come from, there seem to be kind of skeptical for things, and I think it's just nice to feel like I can actually talk about it in a way that's not going to trigger skepticism, and can be experiential and can be backed up by science and things like that. So that's something I've been thinking about, and has definitely been rising in me, I think, over the last few weeks and the last month or so of these calls. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, also utilizing the skills from Canva as well. Having created all of these Canva things, it feels like it's a bit ripe now. So yeah, I'll keep people posted with how that goes.
Hi everyone. For me, it's incredibly difficult to describe what inner dance have brought for me this whole year. But it has been a journey that is very, very magical. It started with a lot of skepticism, like again a new modality, and is it a cure, and is it another one where people could get been advantaged of, and negative thoughts. And I'm so glad that I start that journey by experiencing it with Sophie, and then getting into the year training, because it brought for me a lot of opening within my own personal process at first, from grief, but not only grief, but from a lot of suppressed emotion and stuff who was still hiding in my body, what makes it out a lot of body system problems and how do you say it in English? Dysfunctions in my body, which holds me back a lot. And my mind and my conscious wanted to do a lot, and my body was always holding me back with tension. And I think I did for myself the inner dance for over 8 times, lying down. And
we lost your voice, Sandrine. We can't hear you.
And now
I could hear you.
Ah.
There wasn't anything wrong with it.
So I did it for myself, and I could see that my body, but I think it's also interesting for me to see now I do inner dance a lot, but I also combine it with other modalities for myself. And I can see that if I look back at that year, that inner dance has been for me really like a safe bacon. And it made my body go into trust, into safetyness, to open up, to let go of the suppressed emotions, and the deep ones, the ones who were so covered within the shadows and covered in all those system beliefs. And I think the biggest opening up was in the Black Forest. what there happened, but after that, every time if I go again into an inner dance, I go back a bit to that space. So there has been something opened up, which makes that a lot of the rest of the stuff who is still there or wants to come out can go out. My body reacts a lot on it. That is like really into the action, but in my daily life, I could really feel like how everything in energy is flowing. And that I had a lot of dreams. I told you a lot about like there was something with my eyes. And now since a few weeks, I don't wake up as I only slept for 4 hours. I'm awake. I'm really fresh. There is something away from my eyes. And it's all because of the inner dance and in combination also with other things. But the inner dance makes me feel safe, which makes that also other modalities can enter more into my system or something. So I think it's a collaboration also in that way. And it's so beautiful for myself because I feel so incredibly grounded, not only in the groundedness that I already thought that I was, of the peace that I already had, but the fulfillment of the other pieces who were back downstairs, who also have like room to be, or they're gone. So I feel so alive more, or yeah, I can't explain it. And that's for me the magical around. I can still not explain, which makes that now for 15 years, I couldn't open my eyes in the morning because I felt always that I only slept for 5 hours. And now I'm like some kind of lightning ball energy, feeling, oh, I want to do this and this, and just also, yeah, but that's something else. And next to that, I use a lot of the inner dance through this year, starting also skeptics and a little bit from fear, like, okay, I have responsibility with those kids, and I'm going to use a modality that I still don't know enough about, or can I go really into that trust? Is it okay? Is it safe? Because I don't want to expose them as like guinea pigs to see if it works. And that's that part in my head who was like coming up all the time. But it is so beautiful if I can see what a structure it has been for those kids that I have it like for over 1 year now, every 2 weeks, starting with a few minutes, going to 5, then to 15, now to 20 minutes, and how they really ask for it. Again, it's incredible how kids from in the pre-garden until 12-year-olds ask, when are we going to do the massage again? Is it already time that we can go lay down? Can I go? And it's so beautiful how they also make that modality something which is the same thing as playing a game, or there is no fuss about meditation or we have to lay down. They really feel like, okay, we need it and we can embrace it, and it makes like a bridge going into the parents too. The music has helped a lot of parents for some kids who use it now also when they go to sleep. So there is a lot of being spread, little seeds who are going around. And next year I will also work at another school, and because I also wanted to have some work with the difficult classes around around the teams that I work with the kids. So there is a new school that I will gonna introduce. It's also too. And then we have the very nice and beautiful project in the center for refugees, which will also be proceeded again, but then with a group of women in February. And I have now new contact with a person in the mental health, but it's like in a group with people who have psychosis. I'm gonna do there like a workshop afternoon with therapist on the creative arts therapist. And I was talking about also, okay, I can do it, but I also have another modality. If you want, I can introduce it. So they're very curious about it, but I will do it. And still with Sophie, I need to talk about it, or with you, like in what kind, if it's already okay to do it or to use it with persons who are also like psychotic. so I feel that 2025 will be a beautiful year to process everything more, but also for me to get more into the studying, because now I did a lot of doing. But also with the family life of 3 kids, it was not always that easy to be online and to do all the global calls. And like I do feel that I need an integration time to really go over the videos, to really go more in depth into the theoretical phase, into the studying. So I think that's gonna be. I did a lot of work on myself and with the children and the other ones, and I think now I can go deep dive there, and that there will be new creations coming, because I'm not looking for them; they're coming. So I feel that beautiful that they're there, and also like Tom says, like more and more people are open for it. Also because you could have like not only like a spiritual explanation of it, but you have like with real facts and real scientific frames, and you can see that people are they're reaching out, they're looking, they're wanting, so I think it's gonna be beautiful in 2025. So I'm really happy that I get to know you all, and I'm part of this community, and it will be in my own process in time, sometimes with more, sometimes with less, but I'm still I'm in the inner dance, and yeah, that's my, and also like doing the own playlisting. I really wanted to go in that phase too, to take some time for that in 2025. So thank you, Pai. Thank you, everyone. It's always very inspiring. So I'm gonna leave it with this. Big thanks. Bye.
I can share a little bit. It's actually the first time I have shared in this space. And I think the word for me really is integrated. I feel like the last few years I've been floating about the spiritual space, not really knowing where I'm going, but almost experimenting and getting caught up in a lot of the noise in the spiritual world. And last year, I didn't know about this world, about this modality. It came through to me towards the end of last year. And the curious seeker in me wanted to explore. I was still kind of experimenting. And I can honestly say, in the first time in my life, I feel I'm grounded in my spirituality. And I think a big part of that is the science. I'm grounded in the science. I need to say thank you to Tom for translating beautifully on your Canva presentations. It's really helped me throughout this journey. I feel like next year I'm going to be revisiting all of the calls and continuing to integrate. But yeah, I've just been really open to kind of learn more about this. I'm in Scotland, not far away from Caroline, and this modality is quite unknown here. Where I live, no one knows about innerdance, Kundalini activation. So I think it's been a great support. It's been a great support for me to have this space, a great way for me to integrate, because as I introduce this modality to some people in my area, there's always lots of questions. So yeah, I'm just so grateful. And I really believe that this is just the beginning for me. And I hear what a lot of you are saying as well. And I just feel that I've found somewhere that I feel like I'm really part of something greater. Like there's just this feeling that we're all connected around the world, and we're just here for the greater good. And it's been very humbling. It's been an honor to learn from you, Pi, this entire year. I feel like you really are the modern day Einstein. And I'm amazed to hear that there is more complexity to you because, yeah, I am still digesting everything. But I really feel towards the end of this year, my energy has really shifted. Yeah, I'm doing things like running for the first time, running marathons. I've never been able to do these types of things in my whole life. And it's just amazing what this energy, this modality can do without us having to try. I feel like I've always tried to do things. I've always been doing something. And actually what this has taught me is just be. If you can just allow yourself to be, so much more can happen. So I'm so grateful for you all for this space, and I can't wait to continue to learn and co-create with you all next year. So thank you.
Okay, let's spend about 30 more minutes for anyone who would like to still use the space to share and to help close. And then we'll just everyone will just be we'll just be representing you because you know so many people around the world right now experiencing this energy, and then all the gratitudes and all the reflections I think are speaking, reverberating like well for everyone in so many ways. So it's so nice to hear, especially from those who've never heard from in the global cause. So nice to see you, hear you. Thank you.
I would love to go. First of all, I'm a little bit sick, so I'm sorry if you guys can certainly hear that. I want to say thank you to Pi, because probably there are not enough words to say how grateful I am for everything you've been doing for every single one of us, and for yourself certainly. The calls and everything that I have been internally experiencing this year have been just such a synchronicity, and I'm honestly always just amazed how everything is connected and how I'm experiencing this energy in my own body. There's something I want to say which is actually a little bit strange, because those of you who know me, and some of you have known me for many years, my medicine was the dance, and the reason why I came to inner dance sessions back in 2016 was because of that dance element. And I thought I'm gonna be, you know, certainly dancing my way through the evening, and so that was the case, but totally not in a way that I expected it. And past years have put me in a very I wouldn't say difficult, just deep space. And all of it has been a really deep story of learning about myself and about who I really am, what are my weaknesses, what are my strong sides, and lately what's been happening, because that dance aspect of my journey has been put aside a lot, but what's been happening lately is actually I go into this little very sweet and innocent dances throughout the day, and they are very much not like anything I've danced before. Because there are these wiggles and very joyful very joyful little expressions of myself that I enjoy, and they are very much not choreographed or in any way not connected to the way I've been experiencing the dance before as my medicine and as something I've been doing all my life. And although I'm still in a process of kind of looking at the ways how I can serve in the world, I somehow always intuitively knew that it's gonna get emotional. That the aspect of the family is so important, and I've been in this very deep process of looking at what the family has been for me, not only my birth family, but also my soul family. And so this is kind of it. This is kind of a space where I really feel it's getting grounded and it's getting real. So I want to say thank you to every single one of us for having that courage to dive deep within this dance that we are doing together. And I want to say how every single story that I've been listening throughout the calls have inspired me, how every single one of you have inspired me to take action and to feel into what it is that I really want to do and how I want to present this here where I am. I'm in Poland. And there is so much inspiration from the talks that Sophie is doing and what Caroline is doing and everything that's happening with children. And currently I'm looking at how I can bridge the aspect of the importance of relationship within the family structure and of interpersonal relationship within my own community. So right now I'm I'm looking into how I can make these talks that would be maybe a little bit more focused on the importance of relationship dynamic within the family structure. So how important it is that the parents and the family is kind of understanding the aspect of resonance. And I'm sure I'll be seeking some help with that from Pi and from all of you that maybe have something to share there. And there's also so much about children and how I would love to introduce that into the schools and speak to foundations and organizations that I found here are already existing and looking into how to educate parents to tell them to teach them how important it is that we understand the child development in the consciousness spectrum, in the aspects of consciousness, how the child develops through the certain stages of their life. And so that's what I've been looking at here, although sometimes feeling a little bit lonely because there are not maybe that many people who do inner dance as such here in Poland. But I know that the community I'm holding and speaking to is very much understanding what we do. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. It's been super emotional. I felt super emotional yesterday, and today feels so good to be here together and to be speaking about how we're doing this together and how we're grounding all of this into the earth. So thank you.
Hola, me quería presentar. Es la primera vez que me conecto. Sí que he seguido los vídeos, por horarios me ha sido bastante difícil. Soy Ruth y he estado en la formación con Caro Bayona, a la que le doy, vamos, las gracias es poco, porque ha sido un año muy intenso para todos y creo que el soporte que nos ha brindado ella, y seguro que todos los formadores, ha sido bastante importante. Para mí este año ha sido todo un descubrimiento brutal. Al principio me costó mucho integrarlo todo, de hecho estuve a punto de abandonar. Ella me dio el sostén y la confianza para que siguiera. Y al final, tanto yo como mis compañeros conseguimos entender muchas cosas que al principio era como una locura, ¿no? Como todo esto que es. Yo venía de empezar a hacer el proceso con CAP y realmente descubrí la realidad de lo que es realmente innerdance, que no tiene nada que ver con lo que se mostró al principio, ¿no? A mí innerdance me ha abierto puertas para sanar duelos, para perder el miedo a la muerte, para entender cómo realmente todos somos diferentes y únicos, cómo dejar juicios que antes era muy difícil de dejar a un lado y ahora es como simplemente pasa. Me da mucha pena porque para mí es una herramienta a la que hay que merecer mucho respeto y me da mucha pena cómo se difunde y cómo se trabaja. Creo que realmente la gente no tiene ni idea de la brutalidad a la que se puede llegar, ¿no? A conseguir. También me da mucha pena la gente que no confía. Me ha pasado mucho en mi alrededor, gente muy cercana, que a día de hoy, después de un año, siguen sin querer o entender o siguen sin confiar en mí en base a este proceso. Pero bueno, teniendo este sostén ya me da igual, ¿no? Era como, recuerdo una de las llamadas que hacíamos con Caro, que era como, jolín, es que es en el único lugar donde puedo confiar y expresarme 100% tal cual siento las cosas o tal cual las vivo, sobre todo cuando hacemos sesiones, ¿no? Porque cada sesión es un proceso nuevo que se abre. Y la verdad que me alegro mucho de que se abra esta comunidad tan grande porque creo que es necesaria. Yo y muchos compañeros hemos hecho muchas formaciones de este estilo y hablan mucho de comunidad y luego la comunidad no existe. O sea que me alegra mucho que aquí sí que exista la comunidad. Creo que es importante. Si no, no se puede co-crear, es imposible. Siento que todavía he de integrar muchas cosas de este año porque han sido muchísima teoría y ahora hay que pasarla por el cuerpo. Le comenté a Caro que me encantaría seguir en una formación el año que viene, pero no sé en qué momento me uniré porque necesito volverme a mirar vídeos que no he podido mirar, sobre todo de Pi, de las llamadas globales, volver a coger el mandala, volver a repasar cada color, cada proceso. Y creo que una vez vuelva a poner estos puntos un poco en orden, me podré volver a unir porque además creo que no quiero desvincularme de esto. No sé, el otro día compartía en la última llamada que creo que tenemos una gran responsabilidad como facilitadores, puesto que si esto realmente se quiere llevar a instituciones, nos van a tomar en muchos momentos, en muchas situaciones, pues eso, ¿no? Como por locos y el que se pueda verbalizar de una manera científica creo que nos da mucho sostén, ¿no? Y poder realmente da igual porque es algo que si no lo vives tampoco se puede explicar con palabras, ¿no? Pero sí que para la gente que es más escéptica o tan racional, bueno, necesitan escuchar términos más científicos o demostraciones más científicas, ¿no? Pero al final da igual, porque luego cuando te tumbas y te rindes no tiene nada que ver con lo que uno vive ahí, ¿no? En estos viajes, en estos procesos. A mí se me ha abierto también un mundo en el tema de las playlists. Es una cosa que en un principio para nada creía que iba a poder hacer y ahora me encanta. Me encanta crear playlists. De hecho, cada vez que intento crear una que mi tiempo me lleva, pero es un viaje nuevo, es un proceso nuevo. Y me doy cuenta de que yo sola ya puedo hacer estas cosas, no necesito que nadie venga a facilitarme. Perdón, un momento. Sí, claro, cariño. Perdone, mi hijo. Sí. Ya está, ya acabó la reflexión. Simplemente quería agradeceros a Pai por toda esta investigación que hace. Creo que es de gran valor. Creo que mucha gente no se lo da. Y nada, que para mí es un placer permanecer a una comunidad tan grande, puesto que realmente es lo que andaba buscando hace tiempo y no encontraba, ¿no? Y ahora con esto pues me siento sostenida. Así que muchas gracias y espero volver a veros alguna vez. Chao.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share? So I think we could call it a night and a year. We have a family training happening here. Tomorrow, which is today already, is our day 3, or is it day 4? So we have a bunch of small people and a bunch of big people sharing the inner dance space. It's been really interesting and amazing and almost impossible. It basically happened because we had to say no to parents who wanted to bring their kids in the past, where Maya may not have been as child friendly, and we also prioritize the study elements, and that's not always easy when the ages of the children they wanted to bring were like toddlers and are the type who definitely like to run around and don't like structure. So it's very interesting to hold a structure in inner dance that's super fluid and interesting and playful and yet super insightful. There's so much to pick up on because as many of you well know now, most of my insights belong to the child mind. And so to learn and not teach them, learn from them, to just observe them. They don't have to lay down. It's just pure inner dance. So it's a 10-day journey, and we'll be happy to share what comes up from that. And just realizing that, oh, wow, there's such a big demand for this. Actually, it's not that many parents actually. Like we don't promote anything, so we just wait for people to write, and then it just so happened that there's a group of people, and incredibly enough, they may be all from different like nationalities, but they all came, and they all came from Italy. They all live in Italy. No one planned it that way. They really just found out when they got here that we could have just gone there to Italy and held a space for them, and it might have been easier that way rather than they all fly here and we all have their kids playing with each other, and all these parents are studying and also just enjoying the nature and the beach and the waterfall we have over here in the lower land in Maya. So having said that, we would have to still spend the day tomorrow with families. So closing and opening, just super touched by everything that was spoken and not spoken. I think everything that was shared probably represents everyone in this space. Keywords would be grounding, definitely grounding, earthing, integrating, but definitely challenging. And it's supposed to be hard. There are certain elements that are supposed to be hard because the process itself makes things so easy. It's the hard that helps us to grow, the challenges, the aporious, um it's like a game, and games aren't fun when there's no challenges. It's the limitations that allow us to improve, to become better players, to become better people, to become a better daughter or son, to become a better mother, father, brother, sister, friend, colleague. And we may as well have these challenges in a space that we trust, in a community where anything is possible, and you can come up with the wildest thought, experiment, or experience, or possible connection, and no one's going to judge you. You have the privilege to just explore the space as you would, you know. And I think there has to be at least that one space where everything is free and there are no restrictions. So even in this 1 year, we definitely just allowed people to make of it as they would. We didn't pressure anyone that it had to be a certain way. So the calls are there. They will be stored in perpetuity. We will move though the what do you call this? The classification from unlisted to private. So you will have to send us your email address, and we will put your email to access these as freely as you want. But they will now be stored in the private domain. So they will be there. Please take your time. It takes two to tango. It takes an entire community to have this really weird collective inner dance as well. That's me saying we're not going to be able to repeat a lot of what has been explored. So the Zoom calls are in many ways valuable. Like, I've been trying to write books. I've been always trying to become clear and to be able to document these. But the best way to write these down is to have these gatherings, to have these dialogues. It's really the only way, because the points are so the connection between the points are so nonlinear, and they're so fluid. They're always changing all the time. So it's I don't know if you remember or if you watched the call where we talked about situated cognition, which is a branch of the cognitive sciences that talks about how consciousness is unique to the situation that is being experienced in the moment. And you can never repeat a situation. So us creating these situations where we're meant to talk about the consciousness in this scale, this spectrum, we can't just repeat these. It needed to be exactly at that moment we're looking at it together. If you change any single element in the situation, it won't be the same messaging, it won't be the same content, it won't be the same information. So we need to honor and value what we co-created here, because it's complete. It's monadic in and of itself. We won't have it again. You know, there will be other things, and they won't be less and they won't be more. But this particular time that we spent together, it's somehow important. In many ways, you know, if no one is going to do it, who is going to do it? You're going to do it. Like, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to honor it. We're going to spend that much time. We're going to stretch it out as long as we can, just to see the smallest, tiniest parts. No stone will be left unturned, because every part of it is it's all the being, you know, it's all the consciousness itself becoming conscious of itself. Okay, so we're gonna do it one last time, once again, what we kept doing again and again, which is to press the unmute button. And this time we're going to just take our time to say or sound out whatever is being felt in whatever language. Thank you. Salamat, gracias, and we'll see you again.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Merci.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Great
Thank you.
moment. Thank you.
Finish with midnight. Love.
Gracias.
Bye.
Thank you. Well.
Gracias.
Solo amor para todos. So much love for everybody.
Oh.
And just like that, that's that. Goodbye, everyone. Sweet dreams.